Are you tired of feeling stuck? Do you find yourself doubting your potential or struggling to follow through on your goals? It's time to break the cycle with the Strong Men of Value Academy. At our academy, we don't just talk about change, we make it happen. We provide you with the tools to create a clear vision for your life, backed by actionable goals that we'll tackle together every 12 weeks. Imagine ending this year with 4 major life accomplishments under your belt. How would that change your life? Join me, Lachlan, Stuart, and a community of like-minded men who are committed to lifting each other up. Our program includes weekly check-ins, monthly planning sessions, and quarterly reviews, all designed to help keep you accountable and keep you on track. Plus, every couple of weeks, gain fresh insights from guest speakers who are pioneers in their field. These leaders provide not just inspiration, but practical advice that you can apply directly to your journey of personal and professional growth. Don't let another year pass you by just dreaming about what could be. It's time to become the man you are meant to be, to become the man that can. Spaces are limited, so to ensure personalized support, don't wait. Visit themanthatcanproject.com/the strong men of value to join the waitlist and secure your spot in our next intake, which kicks off on September 27, 2025. Transform your life with the Strong Men of Value Academy, where every man can. Welcome back to the Man That Can Project podcast. This is our first podcast we're recording in Australia since we're back for a couple of weeks, which is going to be cool. And we've got the old school headset back on. And to be fair,
Ooh.
I think I like it. What do you think?
I like it much better than what we've been using in Nashville.
Microphones. But today is going to be a fun one. Obviously, we run a podcast together called Couple Goals. And if you guys haven't or weren't aware of that and haven't listened to it, you can check that one out for all your, basically you just hear about us complaining about each other and our life, pet peeves. But this episode, I wanted to bring Amy on to talk about the marathons. I thought it would be cool to find out, I guess, questions that she has about the run and also ask her questions, because I think a really important thing that I want to get across throughout this, obviously the training block, but then also being apart for pretty much 2 months, how we're going to try and navigate it from a relationship standpoint and why you're not allowing me to do it, because I think you would allow me, but I think in relationships, something of this significance in regards to time, and it is very selfish, you're allowing me to do that. So that's probably a good place to start. Why are you, as my wife of 3 years in 10 days' time, allowing me to take on such a big adventure and, I guess, experience?
Well, I guess it would be very rich of me to deny you that experience after you've sacrificed so much for my career and my goals and dreams. I really would love to see you achieve that for yourself. And I know that you can do it. And I think it's okay to be selfish for a couple of months. And I think you need to be selfish to achieve something so big. So I think, it's important that I give you the time and space to do that.
How do you think you're going to cope 2 months without me?
I think I didn't really think it was going to, I knew it was like 58 days. We didn't really think about how long that is. And we've spent a lot of time apart in the past, but it's been a long time since we've spent that long apart.
It's probably been about 6 years since we've spent 2 months apart.
Oh my goodness.
At least, I would say. Like, probably the longest now is maybe 2022 when you were in Nashville while I was doing my rowing for a month.
Jeez.
So yeah, it's been a fair while. So it will be an interesting experience.
Yeah, I wish that I could be there more, because I want to be there for you like you've been there for me. But I think maybe it'll be a good thing that I'm not there, because I think I'd be worried about you and stressing if you have a break.
Lose a toenail.
I think I would be just like, that's it.
You're done.
I'd be more inclined to pull the plug. But maybe it's a good thing that I'm not there for all of it. I will try and get to some in Australia.
Mm-hmm. What do you feel like, based off of what you know about me, but even just like, I guess, your understanding from marathons, because you rode a marathon with me. I want to give people the understanding that it's not like you've never rode a marathon or anything like that. And obviously I'm running them this time. It's a little bit different, but there's still 4 hours plus or potentially of doing a physical challenge.
I think with something like that, if you haven't done any marathons or challenges, which take a long time, I think people think that it's going to be tough in terms of like cardio fitness. You know, that's what I always thought it would be. Like, oh, you're not going to make it. Like, you're going to have to like give up because your lungs give out. But it's not that. It's more like maybe like the blisters or
my feet look disgusting.
Or it's so cold that you can't see, you know, little things like that that's what makes a marathon or a challenge really, really difficult. I fully believe that you're going to get through physically or in terms of like fitness wise, you're going to make it. I do worry about your knees or
my knees
or your feet.
My feet, yeah.
I worry about the cold because it's going to be snowing, and I don't know if you've ever experienced. Like New York in winter is just fucked.
Well, I definitely haven't been in New York in winter,
and you're going colder places like Alaska, and
that's where we're starting. Obviously, but in my defense, like I've been to some cold places, Japan, but even Nashville was -15 for a good week.
And I was running outside.
Yeah, I was.
Were you?
Yeah. Remember I bought that blue bandana.
That's right.
So I understand what that feels like. However, I was only doing like max 10K. So I'm very intrigued to see how my body responds, but even having like the right shoes so they don't get cold and I don't get frostbite.
Yeah, because that's a real concern. You might not even feel it, but you might get wet in a certain area.
Lose a toe.
Oh my God, please don't do that.
Be interesting. But it's going to be a fun challenge. And that's the reason why I decided to go in winter, was because you were playing a festival. So I really only had this small window, right? So when I first talked to Amy about it, I remember I just interviewed the Iron Cowboy, who did 50 Ironman in 50 days across 50 states. And I was really inspired by that. And one of the things that he said to me was, in order to do these things, like you need the buy-in of, especially if you're married, like the buy-in of your family to do such a selfish, because it is selfish, such a selfish goal. And you need to work out like how they can be involved and what the actual goal is aside from just ticking that box. Like for me, you know, for him, it's like, how can he turn things that he loves and build that into his career? You know, he does public speaking and all of that sort of stuff. And for me, being in the position I'm in the US, where I can't work on the visa that I'm on, and it's really hard to get an O1 visa unless you're like a special talent, it sort of like ticked all of those boxes. I've done multiple challenges before. It's perfect because I want to see more of the country in such a unique way. Mm-hmm. And it's also something that like scares me a little bit, but it's a story that no one can really tell, because people have done people keep tagging me saying, you're not the first person. I'm not the first person to run 50 marathons in 50 days across 50 states. I'll be the first person to do all 50 states of America, then straight into Australia with no rest. And so it's like the logistics of the time zone management and doing all of that. And that excites me because I chose to finish in Brisbane rather than start in Australia, to like finish with the home crowd, which is cool. But then you're playing a festival that day or the next day, depending on whether I miss any days. So when we sort of spoke about that, it's like, if I go when I originally was going to go, which was April, May, June, till June, I would have missed all the tours and festivals, and I didn't want to do that. So then it was like, I do it now. Like as we're speaking, it's September, which was my only other window. However, you got the Australian tour, and I didn't want to miss that, so it left winter. And I'm like, well, I don't particularly want to run in the snow, but that's like the compromise. There's always a trade-off, and I think it's a good thing from a relationship standpoint. There's always trade-offs and compromises, and it's like, what's going to work for both of you? Because maybe it would have been a bit harder. I think it would have been harder for both of us if you were touring.
For sure.
And I was doing this.
And imagine if it was stinking hot, like that would be funny though.
No, yeah, I think the cooler temperatures are going to be better on my heart rate and my recovery. Like straight after a run, just strip down into my jocks and lay in the snow. Like that should be fun. But it is going to be interesting with the travel. Like we got to experience that over the last couple of days. Like we've been traveling a lot the last 10 weeks. So then also to be able to fly out of LA to Hawaii to Sydney, which is going to be I'll be going San Fran to Hawaii to Sydney to make it over to Australia to experience what that feels like. And I got off and I did a 26K run in LA before we got on the flight to Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Then in Hawaii, I got off and did a run, and then did a run the morning before we flew back to Sydney. So it was like cool to be able to test that out and see how the body responded.
Yeah. How did it go?
It went pretty well. My feet are pretty sore at the moment, to be fair, which is a little bit frustrating.
It's a bit of a worry.
Yeah.
But anyway.
We will see what happens there.
See.
I have had this pain in my feet before when I was doing CrossFit, so I'm hoping it's just because I haven't done much strength training because we've been on the road, so a little bit of strength training will help.
Yep.
And
if you can prevent yourself from getting blisters, I think that'll help.
Yeah, Band-Aid. My feet look horrible at the moment. Like my heels and my toes.
They're about to get a whole lot worse.
Yeah, they're about to get a whole lot worse, that's for sure. What do you think are some things that maybe I'm not thinking about that I should consider for this runner?
I was wondering, like, I'm a little worried about sponsorship and like how that's progressing, and what happens if you don't reach your targets. Like, who's going to pay for these flights? Because we're sure as hell.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the other challenge. Like, I think the biggest question I get asked, or even not even a question, it's like a statement of how are you going to do it physically? And physically, I know the work that I'm putting in, I understand my mindset. So I think that for me is not even a stress. The biggest stressor is how am I going to raise the funds to be able to keep my feet on the roads? Because essentially I'm taking 2 months off of work. And even now, like now that we're back in Australia, I've got to double down on my training. Like I'm going to be training 20 plus hours a week, which means, and that's not including recovery. Like I'm going to be pretty fatigued. So it's like a 6-month commitment. So to be able to make sure that I can still pay rent and, do all of those sorts of things, pay for flights, pay for food, pay for our van that we're taking around the US, that's like a problem that's ahead of me. So I'm very fortunate that I have some great clients and some good contacts that have put their hands up, but obviously no money has come through yet. So this week I have some meetings on Tuesday, and then next week I have 4 or 5, and also a meeting with a PR firm as well. So I've got a plan on how to raise money, and if that doesn't work, well, that's like...
Is the challenge off then?
No, it can't be off because I've committed to it. So
but
if I can't raise even the money to just get over there and get started.
Yeah, but as many about the flights and the van and the food and the shoes.
Yeah, like for me, I just don't see that as an option. Like I'm very happy to call people and do all of that sort of stuff because I do believe that like no one's ever done this before, and the reason why we're doing it is I believe is like a powerful message. And I think people want to be part of that and buy into that. So I feel like for me, from a sales standpoint, it's an easy sale because it's like you get to be part of something that's completely new and unique. It's part of a bigger picture for more people. And to be a brand that's partnered with that and help me do that is like a big opportunity, especially when I know there's other ones. If I succeed with this one, there's, other ones coming to be able to do that as well. And look, I thought it'd be a lot easier than it has been. Like I thought I would have announced it and I would have had $100,000 straight away. But then I realized like when I did the 30 marathons in 30 days, I didn't really do that well. Like I did the challenge well, but I didn't raise funds. I didn't document it well. I didn't do all the PR stuff. And that's what businesses want because they want to know what the ROI is on their thing, on their investment. So I'm very lucky that Liam, who's coming with me, him and I can live off the smell of an oily rag. So I think, we've got flights to go back already. So like that's one cost taken out. However, it's then like, okay, well, how do we get the van? How do we get the food, like food and supplements? If we've got a meeting with a company, I've just bought literally yesterday $300 worth of their salts and electrolytes and gels, just because you need to keep your carbohydrates up. And like with my running, I should be having a lot of those so I recover better and feel better. But so I've just if hopefully they jump on board, but if they don't, it's like, well, I've got to pay for that stuff as well. So at the moment, I'm just putting my own cash into it, which is because I believe in it and I want to do it. And we'll see what happens. I'll figure it out. I've always figured it out.
And the other question I had was, if something happens, God forbid, you break your leg or whatever.
Breaking your leg's pretty extreme running.
I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
whatever. You can't continue.
Yeah.
But sponsors have put in 90 grand or whatever. Like, what happens then? Do you just postpone it, or do you give the money back? Like, how does that work?
Well, that's probably going to be a conversation to have with them then. But I think my way of viewing it is like you're supporting the cause. Obviously, I'm going to do it again because I want to complete it. That's the goal. You're not just going to like hit a hurdle on day 2 and run away with 100 grand or whatever it is. So it depends on when it happens. Like if it happens, if I were to get injured, I'm saying when it happens as if it's going to happen. But for example, if it were to happen within the first 2 weeks, then you'd be like, okay, we're going to postpone it. And you'd have those conversations. You'd say to the people, hey, this is based off the injury. This is when I'm looking to redo it. Do you just want to stay on board? Do you want your money? Like, I think I'd navigate that as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing is like all the people that I'm reaching out to, I would be sponsoring with how my mind thinks. Like I'd be sponsoring now because you get more exposure, because it's like I'm documenting all the training and doing all of that. And if you're a part of that from the beginning, as opposed to just jumping on board for the actual runs in itself, you're getting more exposure and more time now. So I don't also believe I'm going to get injured. Like I think, I'll have some sore feet, some sore knees, as I had with all the rows, but I think eventually my body's just going to be good to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
I believe that too. I'm just, wondering.
What else are you wondering?
Scenarios. Who's cooking? Like, what is your image in your head?
It's also a good question. Well, I have this idea that if we get the right van, I'll be able to cook, because Liam's doing all the driving, and I think the driving is going to be harder than the. Maybe you want to sit up.
So I'm just trying to get like really comfy here.
Yeah, it's not very comfy, but it's got to look good on the camera. Yeah, we're doing it once again. We don't have a studio here. We've set up the podcast stuff and letting it rip so we can get it out. I think I'm going to meet with a nutritionist and just have a very simple plan that's pretty much going to be cut copy every day.
Do you think you'll do like meal prep before and have frozen meals?
There's no way going to be meal prepping, because like we just won't have the space to have the meals. Like I'm not sure what size fridge, but based off the vans we've been looking at, it's like you're probably going to be able to have 2 days worth of stuff. So
I reckon you should have some reserve meals in case. I don't know.
You get stuck in a blizzard.
Yeah, or you need a quick meal and you're not going to be like, oh my God, chop the onions.
Yeah, no, like I don't think we'll be I think the plan that I would like would be something that's super easy, like nutrient dense, calorie dense, and very easy, because I know that, for example, if we don't raise enough funds to have more than Liam and myself on the team coming, because obviously people need to be paid for their time and everything like that. So if it's just Liam and I, like not only do I have to run, but I probably have to sit up the front and make sure he doesn't fall asleep, and vice versa, because we got some long snowy rides. So I think that point it would just be like, okay, the goal is to recover as best as we can, which means I need to get in X amount of calories. What is the easiest meal that we can do based upon the situation? So, I'm not a fussy eater. Like I'll eat whatever. So that will be the plan from a nutrition standpoint. If we, are fortunate enough to have a third person, then maybe that's going to be their role. Like, still once again, like very simple stuff that doesn't require a lot of mucking around or preparation, like 15-minute whip together and maybe another 15-minute cooking time. And that would be pretty cool. So I don't know. I've got to eat a lot. I've got to on the run. I'll be eating like 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day, which is one other thing that I've had to think about is, I eat about 2,000 calories a day now. My coach Dean has said I need to be eating 4,000, and even trying to get the 4,000 at the moment, it's a task. So that's another thing I actually got to train to do is eat enough calories so that my stomach can handle it. Like you can't just go from eating 2,000 to 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day. It's not possible. So like that is part of the training now, which then also increases the cost of my investment in this now to pay for more food and things like that. So I can see why no one's done it. That's for sure. So, yeah, I'm not too stressed about the cooking. I was thinking about it the other day because I was looking at a van last night and they were just talking about like how beautiful it is going around America in winter, but like things to be mindful of. And it's like the van freezing over, like your fluids in the van, your water freezing.
Ice on the road.
Yeah, ice on the road, obviously. And I'm like, oh, crap, I didn't think about like
tires.
Yeah, all of that sort of stuff. So like there's going to be definitely things that we can prepare for, and I'm watching so many YouTube videos, I'm reading so much information to try and best prepare, and I'm speaking to people who've done similar things to pick their brains, but there's also going to be shit that doesn't work out for us. That's part of the journey.
Yeah,
that's what makes it fun. So that was touching on food, and also like I think I'll have I'll have all my run nutrition, which will be like a high carb drink. I've been looking at a drink called Scratch, which is like 100 grams of carb that you can run with, which is a lot of calories. And also the one that I've just bought yesterday, which is gels and salt tablets and whatever. Like I won't need too much salt because it won't be cramping like too hot until the Australian leg. But things like that, like that's super easy. It's just like rip and grip. You look so tired.
I am. I'm still jet lagged.
She's either super interested or tired.
Both.
But so yeah, that'll be fun.
Well, and what's the charity that are you doing this for charity?
Yes, I am.
What's the charity?
Mental Awareness Foundation. So I haven't spoken about that yet because I've got a meeting with them next Tuesday.
Is it an Australian charity?
It is. It's a good friend of ours, Wesley. And I've done stuff with them for like the last 5 years. So the thing that I like about them is like not only are they just a great charity doing good things, but they're part of our local community, like the gym that we go to, Function Well, and they do stuff for a lot of other charities as well. So it's like a really cool charity. And I also know that the guys don't take a wage from it. Like a lot of, and this is nothing against charities because I understand people need to get paid, but they've got successful businesses outside of the Mental Awareness Foundation, so they don't take a wage. So you know that more money is going back to where we think it's going, yeah, which is cool. Yes. Do you have any other questions, concerns, or anything?
What happens if mine are all like safety concerns? If there's an emergency, like I don't know. I think my biggest worry is that
hurricane.
There will be an emergency, and then it's just like I don't know. The healthcare in America is like another
healthcare does suck. Like
worry,
Yeah. Yes, I once again not thinking too much about it because I'm not worried about it physically. But if things were to happen, we would deal with that when it happens.
Cross that bridge.
Cross that bridge. Like I'm not going to be in any way, shape, or form going out there to put myself at risk.
So no running on any frozen lakes, please.
Fuck no, I'm not that dumb. I've seen too many movies where that happens. But we will. I do have a goal while we're in Minnesota to go to sauna camps. Sauna camps look sick, which is like saunas on the edge of the lake and they chop, like chainsaw through the lake and then you have ice baths there. So that would be a cool one. Because I'm very excited for the experiences. And that's where I'm like a little bit sad that you guys aren't coming because it's like it will be like such an epic adventure that you don't get to be part of like face to face. Yeah, which sucks. So there's pros and cons, but it's also good because it's very easy to focus when you're not like around. Like,
I think I think, in life there'll be such few opportunities for you to have experiences alone or just with you and the guys. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think you just have to enjoy that and remember that it's a rare opportunity and adventure.
Indeed. So I think, so we don't just keep talking around in circles like that, I was curious to have you on because I wanted to know what your concerns were, but also how people think about if they're going to do things like this or just anything in life. There's got to be compromise. You need to have the buy-in of your significant others or family when you're doing these things. And obviously, I have a few browning points because we moved overseas for you. So it's like I got a few in the bank. But it's also then given me this opportunity. And for those who are listening, I've been doing the YouTube series where I'm trying to show as much as possible around, like, obviously my training, working with my coach, but then reaching out to sponsors, trying to raise those funds. And then once I've had that meeting with Wesley and the Mental Awareness Foundation, we'll do a big piece on that and start raising funds. And we'll have a how much we want to raise goal as well for that, and the route and all the other sort of ins and outs, because I would love, I just remember years ago watching, like, when I was CrossFitting, like Matt Fraser and Rich Phoning doing all these things. And I'm like, I wish they would show you like what they're actually doing. Like, people do like bits and pieces videos, but there's still so many unanswered questions around various things. So I hope that by showing how I raise money and all of that sort of stuff, it gives some people who want to do similar things a greater understanding of what it's going to take. Because it's not just running, it's a lot more than that.
A lot of sacrifice.
Shitload of sacrifice. And the next, like I was even thinking about it on the way down. So the next 6 months, even when you guys go do things and I'm like, I can't do that because I have to go run. Like, small things like that, like once I start running, it's fine. But like when you have to miss out on things, it's like a sacrifice to achieve something that's still 4 months away. As much as I'd rather potentially at that time be going to the beach with you or whatever it is, it's like it's a sacrifice. But at least you don't make me feel guilty for it.
No. I don't, do I?
Never. No, you don't. You're good. Cool. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in. And as I've said, over the next couple of Mondays, I'm going to be interviewing people, and obviously family members as well, because I'm always curious about their questions and thoughts around what, to do with this run, but also next week, I have Henry Wade on, who ran 7 marathons in 7 days. So I'm going to be picking his brain around all the pain points, how he prepared for it, what his training was like, what it was like actually backing up day after day to do those marathons, because I need to get as well prepped as I can for this. So if you have people that maybe you follow on social media, or even just the stuff that I'm talking about, raising funds, driving in the snow, meal preps, potentially, like stuff like that, like reach out, because I definitely need to continue learning so that I can minimize my risk of failure. I don't want to fail.
You're not going to fail.
Not going to fail. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you got value, make sure you share the episode, subscribe, and head over to the YouTube channel if you want to see more of the 58 marathons prep. And obviously kicking off January 21 is going to be our first one in Alaska. So follow along. Thank you guys for being here. We'll see you for Thursday's episode. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachlan Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.